Hello, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, depending on where you are in the world, and be very, very welcome to Vision 2020 from Eyesight to Insight. We're going to broadcast to streamline this documentary, and I have the pleasure and the honor of being here today with Nathan Oxenfeld, who is one of the producers of this film, together with Barry Ockertell. Thank you for joining us today, Nathan.
Thanks for having me, Ainhoa. So glad to be having another chance to show this film. It's just awesome to get so many eyeballs on it, so to speak, and
Yes.
maybe even give people an experience with natural vision improvement as well.
Yeah, and speaking of eyeballs, precisely, a question that I would like to ask you, the person or the people who are watching today, I would like to know if you need glasses or contacts at this moment of your life, if that's something that is required for you to see for now, or if you have had or you need an eye surgery, and even more than that, if you know, oops, this is not well written, if you know anyone who needs glasses or contacts or who needs a surgery. And probably the answer is yes to maybe one, two, or three of these questions. And if that's the case, well, know that you're in the right place, because today you are going to learn a lot about how to take care of your eyes, how to improve your eyesight and vision naturally. And maybe, possibly, I mean, there's different experiences, but a lot of the people who get in contact with this work can reduce or stop using glasses or contacts and can minimize the surgeries that they need. And if they do need surgeries, they can recover much better from them. So it's really a very interesting topic to discover today. And we would also like to know where you are watching from. I see that there's people from Denmark, London, New Jersey, from Greece, from Hawaii, from Mallorca, Canada, from the UK, more from the UK and Canada, from the US, and yeah, more people joining us. So that is very lovely. We are used to having people from up to 200 countries in the events that we do. More in Spanish. We have broader audiences in Spanish than in English, but still. So it's always lovely to know where people are participating from. And actually, not just for your eyeballs, you can also share with your family and friends what you are about to discover. I mean, we're going to start the movie in short, but you can still share the link with other people that you think may be interested in something like this. Nathan, before we share the movie, I would like to say that, so this is an amazing piece of work that you and Barry have done, showcasing so many of our dear colleagues and friends in the field of natural vision improvement, the Bates method, and holistic vision. And I would like to mention that we are part of a wider global movement. So there's, I don't know, what was it, like 12, 14, 15, a little bit under 20 vision educators in the documentary?
In the film, yeah, I think there's, it ended up being about 17. So
Uh-huh.
yeah, it's a sort of a little sampler of this wider community of, yeah, hundreds of natural vision teachers from around the world.
Yeah, and so Nathan and I both participate, for example, in a global holistic vision WhatsApp group that gathers many of the hundreds of vision educators around the world. And we, of course, both participate and organize in the national and international conferences for natural vision improvement and vision education. And this is very exciting news, together, Nathan Oxenfeld, with another colleague, Orit Kruglansky from Israel, who lives in Barcelona, and I, so the three of us, we're also organizing something that's very special. Do you want to say two words about it?
Yeah, so it's essentially a collective book that we're putting together. We're organizing and getting contributions from some of these teachers that were, some of which you're going to see in the movie, and other people from just the community in general, to essentially create a little bit of an anthology about natural vision improvement. to sort of like the book version of this movie we're going to show you. Barry and I wanted to travel around the world and interview teachers and get different perspectives about the different approaches people take for a more holistic approach to eye care. And I feel like that's very close to the mission of this anthology book, this multi-author book we're collecting together, of really seeing how different teachers from around the world actually help people take better care of their eyes, maybe get some inspiring success stories, and really just pretty much like not only introduce more people to this world in general, but really to take people to the next level of not only discovering that natural vision improvement exists, but how to really integrate it into our lives and actually utilize it.
Absolutely. And so in this anthology of natural vision improvement that we're co-editing together, there's about 30 authors from 14 countries. They have all already submitted their first draft of their chapter. I've been reading last week about, I think it was like 30 plus chapters, 32 or 33 chapters, and it's coming together very, very nicely. I think that's going to be also a highlight and a milestone for the community. And it's been, you said, about 70 years of international and national conferences on natural vision improvement, hundreds of vision teachers around the world. And of course, Nathan and I and many others are wanting to do this educational work and diffuse natural vision improvement, make it known around the world. And well, I like to think it like this, Nathan. After Second World War, where especially the American soldiers learned to brush their teeth as part of the daily discipline, when they came back home, they taught their families, and that's when everybody in the States started taking care of their teeth daily, not just going to the dentist. And then from there, it spread around the world, and now it's become like part of our daily habits and culture. And nobody thinks twice, and we're all brushing our teeth several times a day. So my intention is to make natural vision improvement, eye care, taking care of your eyes and improving your eyesight naturally, part of that. Let's create this global movement until it becomes part of our daily habits, and that everyone knows about it and just does it every day. And of course, sometimes you need to go to the dentist. So of course, sometimes you need to go to the ophthalmologist, and sometimes glasses are very useful. But to be in a habit of daily care and to take responsibility for our own eyes and our own eyesight. And as part of the good news, may I say something that's a bit personal also, Nathan? So for this work for this work that we've been doing, diffusing or spreading the word around natural vision improvement, very recently I got nominated or appointed honorary doctor from a university in Mexico. And well, besides the big diploma, so they gave me a little medal, and let's see here, a little medal. And they give the white gloves for always being pure about the knowledge that you share. And they offer you a book. In this case, it was a Bible. Anyway, it was a beautiful ceremony. But the more important thing is not even the honorary doctorate itself for spreading natural vision improvement to about 4 million people in 200 countries. But the most important part is the next one. And it is that on the 1st of April, the university and I signed a contract to make real the first university diploma on vision education. So we have in front of us 3 to 6 months of paperwork with different administrations. But if everything goes all right, there will be the first university certification of vision coaches. That's the title that they would accept. So these are also very beautiful news that I wanted to take the opportunity to share today. So little by little, among all of us, we're making this more and more visible. And there's 100 years of scientific research behind us, but more and more there's institutional recognition, and it's penetrating universities. And Yeah, so we're part of this beautiful movement, and you're going to see in a moment a lot of also very, very internationally acclaimed and renowned vision educators that are very famous, that do a great work. And you're going to learn a ton today. Now, if you stay until the end of the documentary, we're going to have a little interactive session between Nathan and I and you, the people who stay. And we do have some presents and gifts for you, and some opportunities also to go further and learn more about the how to do it for yourself, so that it's useful for you, for your eyeballs, for your eyesight, for your family, and for your dear ones. But so let's keep a little bit of mystery and show them first the documentary, Nathan. Do you agree to that?
Yeah, that sounds good. And just once again, that's such cool news on both counts with the degree. And so congratulations on both of those. And yeah, I just wanted to say, like you said, this stuff has been around for 100 years. And so I think that's why you and I are both so kind of passionate and excited to really be getting this out there, because it's time to for people to learn about this and to really learn how simple it is and how helpful it can be.
Yeah.
So and just a real quick little invitation, since this is almost an experiential film, we do like it sometimes when people do actually try watching it, maybe without their glasses or contacts. If you answered yes to that first question, and you can always put them on, and if that's more comfortable, but who knows, you may even experience a little bit of this for yourself today as well.
Absolutely. Maybe your eyesight improves during this broadcasting of the documentary, and we'll talk more about ways in which you can keep learning so that you can improve your eyesight and see for yourself how it works. Okay, so shall we go ahead?
Ready. Let's do it.
Okay, so let's do it. Let's remove ourselves.
Have you ever wondered why so many people wear spectacles? Why is it that the average person's eyes get worse and worse with each passing year? Why do we need to get stronger and stronger lenses in order to have good vision? This documentary will share the stories of how people all over the world are improving not only their physical vision, but the way they see life. Our story starts on the Gold Coast of Australia. Barry Orcatel is a vision educator who has been helping people improve their vision using natural means for more than 30 years.
My journey started when I was 32, and I was wearing these thick Coke bottle glasses with minus 4.75 prescription for seeing, plus I needed about a +2 for reading, and there was astigmatism as well. And I was told when I was 32 that I had an eyesight of someone in their 40s. And I started experimenting with some of the exercises, and after 2 months, I managed to get back into single lenses. And I've never needed glasses for reading again in the last 20 years. 4 months later, I passed a driver's license with 20/20 vision. I can remember the first time I actually went the whole day without wearing my glasses. It was so exciting. 2 weeks later, they found a pituitary tumour sitting on my optic nerve. And they told me you shouldn't be able to see that. And I said, but I've been doing these exercises and things like that. And so there's been a journey for me, not only in terms of my physical eyesight, but in terms of my life. As I sort of got further and further into improving my own eyesight, other people kept asking me, how do you do this? How do you do this? And so I started running vision classes locally and then interstate and then internationally. And I ended up doing a Masters of Education specifically looking at the effect computers have on eyesight and what we can do about it.
Meanwhile, on the other side of the world, Nathan Oxenfeld, also a vision educator like Barry, is surprised at how little natural eye improvement is being used by the public.
When I first heard that you could improve your vision naturally, I thought it was a little too good to be true, because I had already been wearing glasses and contacts every day for over a decade for my myopia or nearsightedness and astigmatism. I found a book called Perfect Sight Without Glasses that was published 100 years ago in 1920, which is what led me to work with my vision teacher, Dr. Jerry Ann Tabor. And once I improved my own eyes, I wanted to help as many other people as I could to improve theirs. So I actually went through Dr. Tabor's teacher training program to become a certified vision educator. I published a book called Give Up Your Glasses for Good, began a YouTube channel, and started a podcast, and led workshops, classes, and retreats all around the world. And it was at one of these conferences where I met Barry Alcatel from Australia. And we both felt like there was just so much more that could be done in this field.
I'm off to America to see Nathan again. What Nathan and I are going to be doing is catching up with all the vision educators in America and in Europe, and to get to see from them what we can do about improving our own physical eyesight.
Hi, I'm Claudia Mühlenweg and I'm a vision educator from Los Angeles.
So my name is Pascio Roberto Kaplan and I'm a vision educator optometrist, former optometrist. I now live in Germany. I'm from South Africa.
Nathan and Barry are interviewing some of the top vision educators in the world. These people have dedicated their lives to improving the vision of others and have developed a wealth of knowledge which we will be tapping into. The field is growing as more and more people search for ways to improve their eyesight.
So I had heard of Bates in school, and we were lectured very strongly about not even paying any attention to it because it was not scientific and incorrect. But maybe 10 years after I graduated school, I happened to run into a book on Bates. And at the time, I was involved in Tai Chi and yoga and meditation. And as I kind of thumbed through the book, I said, well, this is like Tai Chi and this is like yoga, and I'm an optometrist and I'm myopic. Let me try an experiment to see if it works. And that was how I started.
I was born with cataracts. It's very, very unusual. There are many people with cataracts. I would say that something like 75% of the people at the age of 80 either already had cataracts or having cataracts. But only 1 out of 20,000 infants are ever born with it. There was a working theory in my time that you remove parts of the lens rather than the whole lens. And 99% of my lens is scar tissue. This is a normal lens, and this is mine after 5 cataract surgeries. So 99% of my lens is scar tissue. I was able to build up enough vision with which I can read, write, and drive. And I blew up my driver's license so everybody can see it. I don't care about privacy. I don't have it anyway.
I was wearing glasses for 20-something years, and I had myopia. And I didn't have a clue that you could improve your eyesight in another way. So glasses were for me the way to see clearly. And then I met Amelia Salvador and I did several sessions with her. She taught me the Bates method and I practiced and I noticed I was improving.
I was legally blind without glasses. Without glasses, I couldn't see the big E on the eye chart. But now, I'll be 64 this year, I can see up close everything I need to, and I can pass a driving test without glasses. So I am glasses free 99% of my waking life. I do have a very slight prescription for glasses for driving at night, and I started wearing glasses in 3rd grade.
My personal experience is that I was very short-sighted from age 6 to age 30, then read a book of a scholar of Willem Bates, which I by accident found. The work with the book was not very successful, but I took it with me on a journey in Asia, Sri Lanka. And there I couldn't wear my contact lenses anymore. And I remember to a sentence in this book, under good circumstances, the visual energy could grow from itself. So I took away my glasses, made the whole journey, about 4 months in Sri Lanka and Nepal without glasses. And after that, 2 years needed no glasses at all.
I had trouble seeing at school and squinting to see the television type of thing. My parents noticed and sent me to an optometrist. I came home with a pair of glasses. Typical, right? Story that so many people have. And I went to school with the glasses and found that, one, I got teased, I got asked questions, they were uncomfortable. I found that behind this barrier, I felt like I was no longer part of the world, no longer a participant, but more like an observer hidden behind this weird thing on the top of my nose. So that's what I couldn't get used to. And it was such mild myopia that the glasses really only made a small difference. I figured I could do without. So after a few weeks of trying to get comfortable with them, I just forget it. I tossed them. And I think I told my parents I lost them. I was still living with my parents at the time. They weren't too impressed. They just paid for them. And of course, I ended up squinting through life because I had slightly blurry vision, didn't know what to do about it other than if I did this, I saw a little better. So that's what I ended up doing. And it worked for 16 years.
I had what's called a convergent squint. My right eye was going in and I was farsighted. And I hated my glasses. They made me miserable. I got bullied and teased, and just my whole life made me even more shy. So once I got older, I actually found this book on vision improvement, and I started doing some of the techniques, and I saw improvements. But then I forgot all about it. And then at the end of my marriage, when that fell apart, and I actually went through a really horrible divorce, my vision just tanked. It got really, really bad. And I remember one particular day where I was driving and I got lost in a sketchy part of town. And back in the day, there was no Google Maps, right? So I had to pull out this old, it's called the Thomas Guide in LA. It's teeny print. And even with my glasses, everything was blurry. I couldn't see anything, took them off. So I panicked. I thought, if I lose my vision, if it's getting worse and worse at that speed, I'm going to lose my job. I was a designer back then. So, you can't work as a designer when you can't see. So I remember that book and I pulled it out. But the biggest epiphany I really had was that it wasn't just good vision habits and vision practices, but that the emotional component, like I was sleep deprived, I was stressed out all the time, I was lonely and I didn't like, where I was at. I didn't feel connected to people, like the glasses were this barrier. So I realized then that it's way bigger than just what eye exercises.
And your brain is flexible, your visual system is flexible, your auditory system also is flexible, and there is a rigid concept that people have that things cannot be changed. And so this is a very important thing for us to know, that first of all, vision can improve, but also things in life can change. And most people don't believe that that's the case.
I had a chance to participate in the training course for vision teachers, and I became a teacher, and then I became enrolled in this, and I'm passionate about it. At the beginning, I was afraid of having people with huge problems, like pathologies or something like that. But in the end, I have learned that everybody can benefit from this. Everybody can have improvement. This is real benefit, not only for the eyes, but also for the mind, for the body, for the way you live, the way you see the world, and even children. I love to work with children too.
Wearing glasses is that you are not seeing the real world. The world is made to be seen without glasses. And you can have a different point of view. And it depends on you. It depends on how you feel, on how you are in every moment.
There was one 52-year-old man who was farsighted and presbyopic, which is having to use reading glasses after the age of 40 or 45. And he said, I hate glasses and that's why I'm here. And I thought, gee, I wonder what could help him special. So I came up with an aspect of vision, and I wondered if I manipulated it in some way, triggered it in some way, whether it would actually improve his ability to read without glasses, and if it improved him doing it during the exercise, maybe it would carry over so he wouldn't have to wear glasses. And so I made a particular eye exercise chart for him and taught it to him. And he came back the next week, and I was excited to see what he would say. And he said, I said, how's it going? He said, I'd like 5 more charts. I said, why? Thinking he wanted one for his wife. And I said, why? He said, I love the exercise. Not everybody has an easy time with it, but he said it makes my eyes feel strong. They feel better. I want to do it all the time, every time I have a chance. And he said, I want a chart for the kitchen, I want one for the TV room, for the bedroom, for the bathroom, one at work where I can do it during the day. And so the next week he came and I said, how's it going? He said, for 3 days, so 11 days after he started, I don't have to wear glasses for reading. I read all day long at work. I can see without my distance glasses perfectly. And he went from at 20/50 to start with, and now he could see 20/25. It's good enough to read the phone book and to read the small print in the newspaper. So he was really happy, and I was totally amazed that in 11 days he could turn around his situation. 3 years later, he came to my office, and he saw even better. He saw 20/20 and near 20/25.
I met Ray Gottlieb in 1979, and he introduced me to the Bates process. And at that point, I was a professor of optometry at Pacific University and in Oregon, and natural vision improvement was not something I'd ever considered. My specialty is vision therapy, optometric vision therapy. But with his introduction to what he did for his own myopia, and also meeting Jakob Lieberman, who also had success with his astigmatism and his myopia. When my patients came into the clinic and said, can you help me see better? I thought, well, why not try it? And so I launched a number of studies. The most important thing about the studies was that eyesight improvement could occur in 3 weeks, statistically significant results. And that's published in my book, Seeing Without Glasses.
Well, I was skeptical because somewhere in that 16 years of my blurry vision, I tried eye exercises, and I tried them for several weeks, every day, really religiously went and did that. Didn't work at all. And I thought I was doing the Bates method, but it had absolutely no result. It was boring and tedious, and so I gave up. And I became one of the many skeptics that said, Bates method doesn't work, eyesight improvement doesn't work. Until 8 years later, I came across a different book. And that book had a different concept. It wasn't about eye exercises, it was about relaxing your eyes. How do you use your eyes all day long? And that made a big difference. Once I grasped that concept and started using it, within 2 weeks I was back to 20/20 vision.
I wore glasses for 10 years, and within 6 months I was seeing clearly. I remember being in the mountains with my family, camping, being in a swimming pool, looking around, and all of a sudden I looked and went, oh my gosh, I'm seeing everything clear. And I've been doing it for 47 years and still seeing clearly.
I was highly myopic as a child, starting in 2nd grade, and discovered vision improvement in my 20s and took some classes and had a really good time, learned a lot. And then 15 years later, I developed an eye disease, which necessitated surgeries, and I had some vision shifting and some vision loss with surgeries. So after that, I rediscovered vision improvement because I wanted to recapture my vision after my procedures. And I successfully transformed my vision from 2400 to 2100 using natural vision improvement techniques.
I wore glasses when I was 13 for nearsightedness, and then the glasses gradually got stronger
And then when I was studying to be an orthoptist at Moorfields in London, I wanted the strongest possible contacts, and it was actually a bit much seeing 20/10, I realized. So that was an interesting experience. Then I came to the US and I studied yoga, and I stopped wearing contacts, and I met a Bates teacher, and he taught me how to get out of my glasses, and then I started teaching it. And I just want to tell you, my first student was a boy of 9, and he came in because he'd failed the vision test at school, and he was seeing 20/40, poor 20/40. And so I sent him away with some activities, and in 2 weeks he came back and he was seeing 20/20, a really good 20/20, and I was so encouraged. It got me turned from the orthoptics and ortho way of looking at vision, or allopathic way, to, oh yes, this is possible for more people than just me.
The Bates method is a form of vision training or vision therapy that was developed by an ophthalmologist about 100 years ago now. He lived from 1860 to 1931, Dr. William Bates. He was based in New York City, and he started off just as like a conventional eye doctor, prescribing glasses and performing surgeries. But he was really one of the first people to really question glasses as being like the best solution. He really wondered, he saw that what I saw, which was that he would prescribe glasses to people and then they would come back and need stronger and stronger glasses over time. And that got him scratching his head wondering, is this really the best way to treat vision problems? It seems to actually be making them worse over time.
My dad was an accountant, and he said, what do optometrists do? And I said, well, you know, we come in, we examine your eyes, we give you prescriptions for glasses or contacts, we check for eye disease, and then the people thank us and pay us. And he goes, okay. Then they come back a year or two later, and what happens in over 75% of the cases? They come back a year or two later, and we examine them and check, and then they need stronger glasses. So he goes, let me get this straight. You give them something, and they thank you and pay you. I go, yes. And they come back. I go, yes. And they thank you and pay you again. I go, yes. He goes, you mean you give them something and it gets worse and they come back? I go, yes. He goes, this is a very good profession.
The optometric profession right now stopped calling it myopia control. They call it myopia management. Why? Because myopia control failed. They don't have a solution. They are working with axial length, they are working with flattening the cornea, and they're working with drops, 3 primary approaches. We manage myopia.
Neuroscience has demonstrated the neuroplasticity of the brain, and eyes are part of the brain. That's the thing, the problem with current traditional eye care. They only look at the eyeball as if it's like this thing that you can take out of, I can take it out of my eye and there can observe it and that's it. But the reality is that we are driven by the nervous system. So the brain is really in charge of muscle tension, of coordination. And so any vision problems can be completely changed. Like you can change your brain, your eyes can be changed.
Embryologically, physiologically, and neurologically, the eye is brain tissue. In multiple personality disorders, all the different personalities had different prescriptions. So when you improve your vision, you're working on your mind-body connection. It has effects on your posture, it has effects on your attitudes and belief systems in the world, and your personality. So I feel that vision therapy is one of the most powerful modalities to help change who you are, and how you see the world.
The eye is only the printer of our inner perceptions. And so you don't focus on the printer when you're working with your computer. You focus on the software, and the perceptions are the software. And so my wish for people is to first recognize that the eye is only a light receiver and a transmitter, and that we see through the eye. And therefore, if there's an eye problem, we first work with perceptions, and later the eye catches up and prints out exactly what the new perceptions are.
Dr. William Bates put forth this notion that nearly all vision problems are caused by strain. Not only physical strain, but mental strain. And the opposite of strain happens to be relaxation. So nearly everything in the Bates method, if not everything in the Bates method, is built on this platform that relaxed eyes are normal eyes and they see better than strained eyes, as well as strained minds. So it's a system of relaxation is the simplest way you can think about it.
Only relaxed eyes really see clear. And without relaxation, you may try hard, and the more you try hard making exercises, the worse it gets.
For example, if you are reading and you don't see properly, breathe and close your eyes. Close your eyes is really effective. And then breathe, and then open them again. It's like reset your focus. Don't start trying to focus, because then you are going to interfere. You are going to interfere with tension. Close your eyes, breathe, and open again. Give your eyes another chance to do it better.
If we're nervous, stressed, tight, our body and muscles tighten up. And because of the limitation of blood flow, energy, chi to our body, it also limits the flow of energy to our eyes and brain, and everything can become tight. And if we stay in this chronic state of tightness and stress, the whole visual system can become more constricted.
Those magic eye picture books that I do, for you to be able to just let your eyes gaze effortlessly at it, then all of a sudden a hidden image comes out. Letting the images come to you and not you going to the image.
A violinist that I worked with, she was, doing the activities and her vision was gradually getting better. She's very auditory, and Bates said if you relax one of the senses, they all relax. And I thought that was an outrageous statement when I read it, actually. And I said, okay, well, let's try this. I said, can you remember A, the note A? Since, as a violinist, we all tune to them. And she said, yeah. I said, okay, so see if you can remember A and look at the print. She was presbyopic. And she took a minute, and I said, well, you might need to blink, And she went, and it was super clear. And she got it, and she read all the way down to the tiny print. And she was flabbergasted, and I was thrilled. And I said, okay, so practice that, and then you'll get used to the fact that you can read it. And then the doubt will go away, and you'll just relax. Because really, it was clear, when we get the experience of seeing perfectly clearly, we start to trust that we can. Because a lot of us are afraid we're not going to see something. And what we need to do is trust that we will. And then we relax, and we do.
Sit in front of an eye chart at a distance where most of it is clear, and start thinking of anything that tenses you, bills that need to be paid, an argument you've had, and look at that chart and say, a little less clear. And then start thinking about, my next vacation, or something happy, something joyful, a baby's face. And you'll see the chart clears up because your thoughts are happy.
Getting the eye and mind connection going again, and that's what the Bates method is all about.
A very, very simple thing to do. Remove their glasses, check their eyesight, sit down and have a friendly conversation over a cup of tea for 20 minutes or so, and then recheck their eyesight on the same or a different chart. Routinely, you will see perhaps a 2 to 3 line improvement in less than 30 minutes.
I've learned that I'm teaching or helping people to relax.
So you're going to rub your hands, and then you're going to cup them like you've got some eggs, and you're going to place them, the palms of your hands, over your closed eyes like this. Only for about less than a minute we're going to do, and then when you're finished, I'm going to get you to drop your hands, and with your 2 fingers, just touch the corners of your eyes, allow your hands to drop, and then open your eyes again. Right? It's going to be that simple. If I'm going to say, have you improved your eyes, you need to know what your eyes are. So have a look around, have a look up something close, see if there is a difference in something. Okay, so let's all do this now. Let's rub our hands. And let's cup our hands as if we've got 2 eggs in them, and we're going to place them over our eyes. And we're just going to breathe for a moment. And I just want you to be aware, is it hot or cold? Is it tingly? Do you see all black, or do you see colours, or do you see shapes? Whatever it is, just bring your awareness to it. And I also want you to bring your awareness to how you're feeling right now. And just let yourself relax just a little bit more. Maybe even drop your shoulders a little bit if you can. And then very slowly, just allow your hands to drop. And then very gently, just open your eyes and have a look around. And I'll just have a show of hands if anyone's noticed any difference in that 1 minute exercise. Have a look around the room, the hands up in the room. There are probably over 50% of people have had a shift in 1 minute. It's not bad, is it?
When you wear glasses, your eyes get worse. They never get better. They don't improve. They always seem to need to have the next stronger pair, and you don't even have to tell people that, they know it.
And so the glasses really create more of a problem. And typically, people that use glasses find that within a year or so, or a year or two, they will need slightly stronger glasses. And it keeps going in that same fashion, worse vision over time. And that's a shame, because it could be turned around by not using the glasses.
Glasses are a tool. They may help you, but you pay, or you always pay for that help. By using glasses, you always go into a pattern of tension, and that pattern stays, never changes. The glasses are like something that frees a situation, and a situation of tension that can only get more and more. If they are not necessary, then it's much better not to use them, or to use reduced lenses.
When you experience blurry vision, it's like your system or your body is sending you a signal saying, hey, something's wrong. You're not seeing correctly. And when you put glasses on, you're essentially sending the signal back like, hey, shut up. There's no problem, I can see again. And so you've ignored the original root cause of the issue. And they are prescription glasses, so it is a prescription that becomes very addictive and very habit forming. And I've met so many people who their vision, right when they start to use the glasses, their vision immediately gets even worse when they take them off, and then they are hooked on the glasses. And so they're really a crutch that prevents us from looking on these deeper levels of what is actually causing the problem in the first place.
There is an upside to glasses. It's an instant fix. But there's so many downsides to it. It does not address the underlying cause of the problem.
We need to really examine this point about 2020. And we are so conditioned that 2020 eyesight is the ultimate perfect vision. It's great for eyesight and it has advantages in our living, but it's so fear-based that people must really look at their fear behind this legislated rule that everybody has to see 20/20. And when we do that, we're going to find this incredible dynamic mobility and flow of this fluctuating seeing.
What I love to teach people is that their vision is flexible and it can change. I generally check vision acuity on the chart when we start. And then we go about and do vision techniques. And then I generally check their vision after. And most people are standing further back from the eye chart with a comfortable reading at the end of class. It's beautiful to see the joy and the expressions on their face that our vision is flexible and it can change.
Sometimes you hear you just stitch your glasses, right? That's unrealistic for a lot of people, because if your vision is so blurry that your clarity is right here, so using transitional glasses weaker glasses and only use what strength you need. Diopters are measurement in terms of meters and focal points. So any diopter can only correct you for one distance. If you wear glasses for nearsightedness, because for driving, for instance, which is like, 20 feet, 6 meters, your computer is 2 feet or 60 centimeters away from you. You don't need the same strength. So really you only use whatever strength you need just to have enough clarity for a given task. Not seeing the street signs 5 blocks over, right? That might not be important for if you cook a meal, let's say.
It seems silly, but to make friends with blurry is a good point, because you are not fighting against blurry, because when you remove glasses for the first time, you think you are not going to see clearly ever. But if you wait for a while and you start relaxing and feeling that is your own being, your own sight, then it starts, the tension starts to release, and then everything gets clearer.
It helps to be creative and introspective and experimental, and to treat things as an experiment, so that whatever happens because of the experiment isn't wrong, it's the answer to the experiment.
So tune in and especially take your glasses off and notice, when is my vision best and when is it worst? So you discover patterns. Could be the time of the day, could be your emotional state, could be how stressed you are, how much sleep you got, but just detecting those things. So I like to call that, like in a journal, the strains and the gains, right? So you kind of have both sides, because then you kind of have a better idea what is the way for you to improve.
A woman came to my workshop and she walked in and was reluctant to even give up her glasses, to not even put them on the side of the room. And she had such a major shift in that one class that she came to me for several sessions. And within several sessions, she left wearing glasses, prescription, that was probably about 8 years old. It was 2 prescriptions prior. And she has never gone back up to her stronger prescriptions.
And the weaker lenses, as a stepping stone, create a dance, a balance of returning between this heavy thinking state, feeling state, and remembering I'm a human being.
For me, glasses stop people from seeing their own power, from seeing their own wonder and their own gifts.
The problem with glasses is that we get stuck in them. Wearing glasses for short periods of time, like dentists to look at my teeth, or looking through a telescope at Mars, that's fine. Those are lenses used in a really good way. Or if we're going through a stressful period, like a kid going to a new school, high school for instance. I had this one kid, and she just, everything was very overwhelming. So she just wore them for short periods of time, and then she'd take them off and do the activities. And after a year, she didn't need them anymore. She was habituated, she was okay. And if we break a leg, we need crutches. And then we expect to do physical therapy and get out of them.
But sometimes you wear glasses because you put them on in the morning and then you don't remove them. First time I saw her, she told me, okay, remove your glasses and let's see what you can see. And I said, without my glasses, I can't see anything. And she said, anything? So you don't see me? I said, oh, yes, I can see you, of course. Then, why did you talk like that? And changing the way you talk, the way your mind. And also, do a list of all the things you can do without glasses. And that list keeps on growing.
Yeah, nobody needs glasses to talk on the phone. But everybody gets them on.
Yeah.
Sometimes, like shoes, they may need 2 or 3 pairs of glasses. One pair of glasses that reduces that bad stress. Another pair that says, look, I just got a job to do right now. I've got to drive 50 miles. Look, I'll wear these glasses for that. But to be flexible like shoes.
Lots of people ask me how they can use reduced prescription glasses. So I recommend ordering several different pairs of prescription glasses that are less than the current prescription.
Is this a -2 day or -4 day? Oh, I'm going to walk the dog in the forest, -2 day. And then, oh, I have to drive to the city, or -6 day. and play a musical instrument, that's -4 day. So he chooses his lifestyle by the right glasses for the job for that day.
I personally wear indoor glasses that allows me to see my books, my recipes, the newspaper, and that's really comfortable. And when I go on the computer, I have a slightly stronger pair that allows me to see comfortably within a certain distance. And then when I drive, I have distance glasses for comfort and safety.
And I'm not in favor of people saying throw away your glasses. I think that they are basically deepening an emotional suppression, facing that much unclearness. And I've worked with people who were -10 and didn't wear their glasses for 10 years, and their life actually was affected. And when they went to -5, they somehow returned to a centered position, and they could do their work and their training much better.
So for me, it's still the experiment. I want to see how far I can go, how old I can be and still not need reading glasses.
How many people here wear glasses? There's still a lot, isn't there? And so the question I would ask you is, what is it in life that you're not looking at? And the two are actually connected.
The most important thing that Dr. Bates taught in my eyes is something called central fixation. And this is less of a practice, and it's more of a habit or a different way to use your eyes or look at the world. So I want you, if you had to show me where your peripheral vision is with your hands, where would your hands go? And then if I were to ask you where your central vision is, where would maybe your hands go then? Okay, so we've got 3 different things. We've got one finger, we've got kind of a narrow area, and then a little bit wider. So we've actually got 4 main layers of our visual field. Where you put your hands first, that's your far peripheral vision, the very edge of your visual field. When you bring your hands in a little closer, you're in your middle peripheral vision. When you bring your hands a little closer, you're in your near peripheral vision, kind of like a circle. And then that comes all the way up and touches your central vision, which you're going to grab 2 different colored pencils. The tip of one of the pencils is going to represent the size of your central vision. So if you look at one tip of one pencil, that is your central vision. And just look how small it is. The root cause of many vision problems is the loss of central fixation. Or the opposite of central fixation is called diffusion, where you diffuse, you open up your area of focus to too large of an area. You're trying to see too much at once. It's anatomically impossible because all of your cones are packed into the center of your retina, this little tiny spot called the macula, which is about 0.15 millimeters, which is very, very small. When you try and spread out and see my whole face at once, or an entire eye chart at once, you are asking your rods to do the job of the cones, which is anatomically impossible. So they put up a fight. They're like, what do you do? Why are you telling me to do the job of the cones? And then that creates all this strain and blur, and we lose our vision. When we can learn to shrink our central vision down to a really, really tiny point, that's when we can see clearly without glasses. And this is why people can practice the Bates method for 20 years and not see clearly, because I'll ask them, how's your central fixation? What? What do you mean? They're missing the most important element of how to see without glasses.
Look what we're doing with our eyes these days. We're basically looking at the phone all the time, looking at computers all the time. Don't give the eye the chance to look at a distance, which our ancestors used to do. Forget that we have periphery, and forget to look at real minor details. We just do that, and that's the formula for glaucoma, cataract, and macular degeneration.
If we're using a computer or a phone or a tablet these days, more than 2 hours a day. Now that's not that long. If you think about how often you spend on a tablet, a phone and a computer, more than 2 hours a day, then it has a detrimental effect on your eyesight.
Thriving and surviving the technological age is ruining our eyesight. I mean, over 80% of children 12 and under in China and Japan are nearsighted now. I think it's by the year 2030 or 40, there's going to be 5 billion people nearsighted.
I did a Masters of Education in how computers can impact our eyes. When I wrote the final thesis, I found that there was 3 things that we can do to improve our physical eyesight at the computer. The first is to make sure that we blink, because we tend to have a tendency to stare at the computer, especially with spreadsheets and Word documents. The second one is to breathe and just relax a little bit while we're at the computer, because again, we have a tendency to hold ourselves at the computer. And the third one is to make sure every now and then you simply look away, look at a window, a picture beside you, and then come back to the screen to allow our eyes adjust back to the screen itself.
And I know of one ophthalmologist that a woman brought her 15-year-old daughter and to fit glasses. She didn't see well. He said, "How long is she in front of a computer?" The woman said, "The whole day." He said, "Let her go and play." And he wasn't unconventional. He just was an ophthalmologist with some brain and intuition. So she went and played every half an hour. She came back in 2 months. There was no need for glasses.
We often sit at the computer with our necks slightly bent, and our eyes as a result are not level, they're actually over, and it puts more strain on our eyesight. And the way we can check that is simply put our thumb out with a slightly bent arm, and we look past our thumb. So look into the distance and just be aware of your thumb. And what it will look like is you'll see 2 thumbs because you're looking into the distance. And one thumb may look higher than the other. So you're tilting your ear from left to right, and as you do that, it appears as if your thumbs are going up and down. And the least amount of stress on your eyesight is if your eyes are level. And so tilt your head until you've got that level. And that puts the least amount of stress on your eyes while you're working on the computer.
Maybe you can set your timer for every 5 minutes to look at 20 feet or more. And we're very resistant. It's really annoying, right? When we first do it, what do you mean I have to look in the distance every 5 minutes? And after a while, we get used to that.
It's really important that the processes that we talk about, that it becomes a daily activity for you.
I've got a huge garden in the valley, apple orchards and growing my own vegetables, to get involved with their hands and to remember that our eyes are part of this incredible existence called nature. We just have to get back there.
The sun is not your enemy. The sun is your best friend. And if you learn how to adapt to it in our methods, you actually would be able to see way, way better.
It's really important to start your day with light. It not only is healthy for your eyes, but it sets your circadian rhythms. If you expose yourself to bright light first thing before you do anything in the morning, then you're guaranteeing an easier night's sleep that next night, and it compounds.
I want to find a way to adapt to daylight, not to escape it.
Out of the entire Bates method, the sunning is my absolute favorite. And even though my vision's normalized and I don't necessarily need to keep doing practices, I still sun my eyes every day. People know you get vitamin D through the skin, but you get so much more through eye exposure.
Go outside without glasses. Many people are adverse to the sun. They're afraid of it, or it hurts their eyes.
Our eyes not only experience the world of sight, but our eyes are the only transparent biological windows of the body that allow light, which is nature's most perfect fuel mix, to enter the body and to literally energize every cell in the body. And because all of our physiology is inseparable from light, darkness, and all the changes that exist in between light and darkness.
If you are light sensitive, you want to be really gentle with it. And we're not saying you're not allowed to wear sunglasses. If you want some protection, if you know you're going to be out at the beach all day or skiing or whatever, just don't wear really dark tinted sunglasses, because that's what weakens your iris muscles. When you have really dark glasses on and it's really bright out, your brain thinks, oh, it's like nighttime. So your pupils dilate And your pupils never get to constrict enough because you never expose to the brightness. So if you wear lightly tinted sunglasses or even like yellow tinted sunglasses, it cuts the glare. It gives you some of the UV protection, but it doesn't weaken your iris muscles. What I do is I actually lift my eyebrows up and keep my eyes down. And you just always want to keep moving either side to side or up and down. I do sun sandwiches. So that's where I do 10 or 15 seconds of sunning, followed by 10 or 15 seconds of palming. And I just alternate really, really bright, really, really dark, back and forth for anywhere between 1 minute and 5 minutes. I talk about 4 rules of sunning, always letting your comfort be your guide. So never go overboard with it. Always balance the sunning with palming. A little bit often is better than a whole bunch at once. So just taking little tiny doses throughout the day, and then don't stare at the sun with your eyes open.
While I making my food and I can connect to the colors I see and breathe in with my eyes the colors. I'm preparing the food or I'm eating the food.
So what's the #1 food for the eyes? Nope, it's not carrots, but kale. Kale is the highest degree of lutein, zeaxanthin, along with orange peppers. So I believe that we have to nourish our eyes through diet. The best foods, kale, orange peppers, blueberries, the dark grapes. As much as we can do multicolors in our foods, the best for our eyes.
So one thing I'd like you to do is just to squeeze your eyes like that, squeeze them really tight, and then open them. And when you open them, become aware of the first thing that you see. Everything might pop up, and you might actually get to see something and go, wow.
And go for the hobbies, go for the passion of creativity. Choose hobbies that are fun and activate the feeling nature. Because most eyesight difficulties is an overthinking. It's an overdoing. Too fast, not taking enough time to really see.
Not too much only stay in this thinking, that because that's the past, or creating a new future is not the moment. It's on the moment is sensing.
Yoga teaching and vision education is very similar in that the belief systems are relaxation, flexibility, hydration, awareness, and just a greater sense of self, but mostly deep relaxation.
And what does yoga mean? It means union, going back to integrative medicine.
I think he went around and tried to figure out what other cultures were doing, because a lot of what the Bates method is based on is a lot of yoga and yogic techniques and yogic thought.
Before I learned about any of this vision stuff, I was a registered yoga instructor. So I love to explore the connection between yoga and the vision, specifically including things like meditation and breath work and just healthier lifestyle in general that yoga has been teaching for thousands of years as well.
So a hint I love to tell my students is to simply close your eyes, relax your eyes in their eye socket, relax the cheekbones, relax your jaw, relax the back of your tongue, because if you can relax the back of your tongue, your whole body can relax. And in that state, just taking a breath, deeply relaxing, and gently breathing and blinking open really has the ability of resetting the nervous system and to allow the eyes to rest just for that split second.
What I want people to do right now is just to yawn. And maybe seeing me yawn or hearing me yawn is contagious and it makes you yawn. Even if you don't yawn, you can fake it till you make it and just kind of go through the motions. Just take a big breath in and make that sound, that sigh sound. And even if you don't yawn, maybe just doing a sigh, an audible sigh from high to low, like one breath like this can actually make an instant change in your nervous system. What it's doing is actually calming down the vagus nerve, which is one of the biggest nerves in the body that connects to many of the major organs in the system. And a lot of people are kind of stuck in the fight, flight, or freeze sympathetic response in the autonomic nervous system. And when you take one deep breath or yawn or sigh, it starts to move you a little bit more into the rest, relax, digest, parasympathetic nervous system. And that's what the Bates method teaches, right? Is how to relax and how to calm your nerves, because all vision problems are nervous problems. And so anything you can do to calm your nerves is going to help your eyes as well. Not to mention you're just getting a lot more oxygen. And you may notice if you are yawning with me right now, that you actually notice some tear production. And eyes with a healthy tear film see better than dry eyes do.
My journey began in 1992 when I was completely run over by a truck. And it went over my entire body, up my spine, over my head, and crushed my face in the rocks. The only thing that was not damaged was my left eye orbit. It was on limestone gravel, and so the rocks were different sizes, and there was a big rock that crushed my orbit, but it protected my eyeball, so I didn't go blind. I've had over 30 reconstructive surgeries. I had a diagnosed moderate to severe brain injury and musculoskeletal, chronic pain. It's been quite a journey. They didn't know if I'd live or die, and I was disabled completely for over 10 years.
I was operated on for a pituitary tumour. I'm sitting on the optic nerve. And they told me you shouldn't be able to see. And this became the next challenge for me to gain not only my eyesight back, but all of my vision.
I've had a number of eye surgeries due to an eye disease and have necessitated really finding ways to make myself mentally, physically, and emotionally ready for surgeries, but also how to care for my eyes and my vision post-op, because we're not always educated by our surgeons on post-operative care.
They found out that my optic nerve was so damaged I was going blind. It was like living in a moving kaleidoscope all the time. And then on the 4th orbital reconstruction surgery I had, I nearly went blind again from this eye because the exterior muscles were trapped in the orbital floor from previous surgeries. And they released them, but they didn't take care of my eye. And I developed a terrible corneal ulceration where I nearly went blind, plus my eye turned completely in.
First of all, we should do anything we can do to resolve things naturally. And if we can't, to use external invasive procedures, and then after we use them, return to nature and do anything that we can do naturally.
It's really important to allow the eye a long time to heal. And personally, I don't begin real focused natural vision improvement techniques until about 9 to 12 months post-op. I think the eyes and the visual system really need time to find a homeostasis, and then from there you can begin to retrain and rebalance the visual system. Through nutrition, gentle massaging of the eyes and the forehead, relaxing all the trauma that we experience from surgeries can really help us heal on a gentle level without disrupting all the process that was just done.
And the evidence from the ophthalmologist is that the healing is better.
I read and write, without glasses. I don't need reading. I don't need driving glasses, nothing on my, I have no restrictions.
I remember after the operation and during the recovery, I started for the first time to listen to visualization tapes to really start changing my mindset and start visualizing what was a better life and a better way of seeing for me.
It's about being in the moment, being present. I am very grateful for everything I have learned in my journey.
Oh, your child has a crossed eye. They're not quite old enough, but next year I'll do a surgery. It's malpractice as far as I'm concerned, that they don't spend time trying to teach the eyes how to work together, how to fuse together before they do the surgery. Maybe they won't even have to do any surgery because the eye will straighten out.
This girl, she was very easy to work with because of her age, being 10 years old. She's old enough to understand instructions, but also young enough that, she'll just fly with it. I explained to her why her eye was moving out. and how she could change that tension, the left eye muscle tension, and release it back. First by helping her control it by making the turn worse, and then having it come back in. So as she made it worse, she could create more double vision, a bigger gap between the two images. And as she relaxed, the gap became smaller. And so she learned to play with it and learned she had some control. And then at some point I said, okay, now let your eyes just be open and blink. But as soon as things go double, I want you to close your eyes. Well, she opens her eyes and looks around and blinks, and she says, everything is single. And she's happy and excited, and I says, okay, now, if it goes double, I want you to close your eyes. She says, okay. And she just keeps looking around and blinking. And she was fine. And it didn't go back. It stayed fine. And so within 1 hour, she went from double vision in an eye that moved out to perfectly normal straight vision. And the surgery that was already half planned could be cancelled. And I heard from them several months later and again several years later that she was fine, never needed the surgery.
One of the things I found with Bates is he seemed to focus more about what was happening behind the eyes than necessarily what was happening in front of the eyes. Things like our mind, our memory, even our thoughts, and even our emotions all then have an impact on how we physically see.
When you got your glasses, what was going on in your life? And then they're like, I was in 3rd grade, my parents divorced, or we moved, or something like that. So yeah, and I was scared. It shows that there was something going on. It wasn't just suddenly you couldn't see the blackboard anymore.
I came from the business world. I was working for a bank and I was trained in economics and so on, and I didn't know I could go deeper into my eyes. They were just there with my glasses on, and then she opened me the door to this new world of health and well-being through the eyes. And it's so powerful that I couldn't think that through the eyes, so little part of the body, but so important, that through the eyes you could go and reach your whole being. That's amazing for me. It still is amazing. Yeah.
How we see with our eyes is a reflection of how we see life.
When we're unhappy or when we're bored, we tend to, and I did it a lot as a kid, and I'd go like this. And my mind, though my eyes are just kind of not really looking at anything, and my mind has gone to Hawaii or something, because I didn't want to be where I was. And it was a way of escaping. And it's often the smart kids who end up in the glasses. Yes, maybe they read a lot and no one tells them to change focus. But at the same time, it's also, I think, because they're bored. And nothing much is happening in the class that's engaging them.
I've had the experience where I've been feeling really good and suddenly my whole field of vision opened up. And I've had situations where I've come from a fear, or I feel like I'm being tested or what's going on, and my field of vision absolutely collapses.
When you do eye exercises, sometimes you improve a lot, and then you get stuck because emotions that you have in you have not been able to be cleared. And this is what's so beautiful about combining body work and eye exercises. Movement brings the emotions, movement takes them away. And the person has to be patient with the process that he or she are passing through.
The eyes are a two-way street. We need to let the images come in, the light come in and receive. And we need to allow the emotions to be expressed. And the way I've been teaching is to see from the core. And the core in the human being is this energetic line through the body, right down the center, just like the core of the carrot is for the carrot. And when we can receive the images there, we don't strain. And it's the same with the feelings. The feelings just come out. The light comes in, and it's an easy flow as long as we can stay connected to ourselves in the present.
So when a person is nearsighted, we're not talking about their eyes. We're talking about their way of experiencing reality. We're talking about how they have compensated for perhaps going through a difficult period to make their world more comfortable, more workable. The changes that we make that often cause us to wear glasses are not bad changes. We've just made them at a time when that's what we needed in order to support our sense of safety and security as we move through the world. And then the discovery that we can possibly reverse that or see life in a different way is something that occurs at a different level of life when we're ready for that.
You have to make it work for yourself. If you just want the quick fix, like without going into your inner emotional area and really connecting with yourself and what you don't want to see, you know, you're only going to get so far.
The interesting experience was when I felt clear, I saw clear. And from moment to moment, it could shift.
Simply by working on my eyes, giving attention to the eyes and experimenting different ways of using the eyes, I would come into a different state of consciousness. I would be more open to different sides of reality.
Emotions are integral to our makeup. This is why the field of psycho-neuro-immunoendocrinology exists, which essentially says that the beliefs, ideas, intentions that we identify with then reflect themselves in our immunological functions, our endocrinological functions, in our entire being, in our entire makeup.
There's a real big connection between the emotional body and vision. So the more stress you're under, the more your peripheral visual field decreases.
I believe that the eyes are not just for seeing, receiving light. I think they're also for expressing emotions. The eyes, in my eyes, have two main purposes: to see and to cry. And when we cry, we're literally squeezing emotions out of our face through our tears. And there was a long period in my life where I did not cry. I suppressed a lot of emotions, and I believe that that's part of my root cause of my blurry vision that I had earlier in my life. And when I learned about natural vision improvement, I actually got more in touch with my emotions, and I actually let them process through, and I started crying more. And every time after a cry, my vision would be clearer. There was a release of emotions that I had been trapping in, and when I let them out, it had a positive effect on my vision. If you haven't had a good cry in a while, maybe it's time.
My speciality is really looking at vision of life, not just looking at people's eyesight, but I'm interested in making the best out of each person, in giving them the gifts and the talents and the strategies for moving forward in their lives. So I've done that through a process which I call life vision mentoring, which is really helping people to expand themselves and expand their own vision.
My work is not just about identifying blocks, it's about clearing these blocks as well. So they refer to me as Australia's the blockbuster, so it's pretty cool.
The eye exercises help, they're there to support the process, but the miracle is in changing the way people see both their past and their future so that they're more firmly fixed in the here and now.
Our senses are doors or gates between the inner person and the outer world. And under really clear circumstances, there is a clear connection.
Don't worry about the eyesight so much, worry about how you're seeing life. You know, what is it in life that you're not seeing? And for some people, if it's about past issues, it could be quite negative. It could be these negative issues they've had and stresses they've had. I help them to see them in a different way so that they can move forward. The same with other people. They have a stress about their vision of the future. You know, can I live up to what I want to be? And I think I can achieve that, but I'm not achieving what I thought I was going to achieve. And in the same way, I actually help those people not only get clarity on what that vision is, but actually take steps towards that. And in the process, the magic happens because their eyesight takes care of itself.
I think eye care industry is changing, and it has to change. At the moment, there are things that you can get on the internet. You can get cheap glasses on the internet, and you can get diagnosis with little devices that attach to a smartphone. So you can measure your own prescription, you can order your own glasses. And that's going to change the eye care industry.
Lenses are going to take on a new meaning. It's not just correcting things. Like the blue light blockers, we're going to start using glasses that have a preventive approach. Like SLR is now producing an eye Zen lens. Cooper and other companies are producing the retinal blur, peripheral blur lenses. They are in the right direction.
My vision of eye care in the future is to have optometrists collaborating with vision educators, and we get the best of both worlds. So that people wishing to be able to see can get reduced lenses, can get support through optometrists, and they can get the guidance of a vision educator so that they can take personal responsibility for themselves.
My sense is that this humanistic approach could just fit into a little corner one day of an optometric office where maybe it's coaching that they provide as an extra service and have a therapist, trainer, vision educator there. And that would be a perfect mix.
When you go to the eye doctor, or especially if you bring a child to the eye doctor, that they actually ask you about your life, your questions. What are you doing with your eyes? How's your sleep? How's your stress? Where are you on the emotional scale, right? And then offer you this as a first option before you do anything else, right? And only if that doesn't work, or if some people might be, you know what, I just want the quick fix. I don't want to go inside. I don't want to know this. Fine, right? But have that as one of the first option, and then use glasses, contacts, or surgery.
The future of vision care should be eye health care. Eye, meaning not just the physical eye, but the totality of the person.
You are the one in charge. You are the consumer, and that consumerism means you ask for what you want. If you don't want drops in your eyes, say so. If you don't want strong glasses, talk to them, inquire, and if they don't respond, find somebody that will. There are vision therapy optometrists, behavioral optometrists, developmental optometrists who are very receptive to myopia control, very open to vision therapy principles, part of what we do in vision education. So there's a symbiotic potential that's available, but it's the consumer, the people like you and I, that have to go out and ask for it.
Well, the really cool thing is that we see with the mind, and we can change our mind. And we do it all the time. So let's change it about vision.
Real change, whether it's in chemistry, physics, or biology, or relationships, or even getting your clothing clean, requires agitation. We say it all comes out in the wash. It all becomes clear and clean. Interestingly enough, all this is happening in 2020, the year of clarity, the year of I see, which means I understand. And so the pandemic changes our awareness of the racial inequalities of the world, our awareness of the difference between leaders who lead and leaders that demand. All of that could never have become clearer than it is becoming right now. So while this is a time of disturbance, this is our moment of greatness.
We've already demonstrated, yes, we can do stuff by ourselves. The benefits of going to a vision educator, to me, just speeds up the process, number one, but it also makes it safe to do. Like, it makes it a safe process. Because I know I was quite scared about doing some of this stuff. Like, is this okay or is this not okay? You know, I was told by an optometrist, make sure you wear your glasses all the time or your eyes will get worse. Mm-hmm. And so when I started taking them off, there was some guilt that sort of came in, or am I doing the right thing with my eyes, or is this okay? And I found that by working with people and giving them that reassurance that things are okay, it sort of speeds up the process, but it also enables them to go within quicker for themselves.
It's difficult to see yourself from the outside. So a vision teacher can give you feedback of how you put your head, how you breathe, if you blink or not.
The teacher's job is to find what really works to help that student relax, because not everything does it. I mean, you give them all the relaxation drills and palming and so forth. Some people palm and that's like, wow, it's magic. Others palm and it's not magic.
The amount of people that can benefit from this and the amount of people that we can help through this. The stories that we've heard and the case histories of people that they've shared with us are just so inspiring, and that's really what originally fueled me. Maybe by going through watching this, it has already begun to shift or change your perception of vision or your belief about what's possible. Without even doing any practices, you might actually already start to see some change or improvement.
Go and Google, see what you can find, and take some first steps for yourself to finding out what you can do about your own eyesight.
If you change your vision, you absolutely will change your life.
I'm more aware now of the space between objects. Like looking at a tree, particularly the pine trees, rather than seeing the pine tree as a blur, I see the light between the leaves. I see the light between the branches.
I was able to pass my driver's test this year without lenses. Human body is just wonderfully made. And if you're willing to work with it, like using the Bates method, it's amazing to discover its capabilities.
I was enthralled, and I had someone immediately take me to the optometrist, remaining in a relaxed state, continuing to relax my vision. And immediately, the optometrist tested me, and my prescription had dropped 2 points that day.
It has greatly improved my color vision, imagination, and my ability to think clearly.
My left eye was 5.75, has improved to a trainer glass of 1 in myopia.
I have enhanced color perception and depth perception, enhanced peripheral vision.
I see in a whole new way now. I see details I never saw before, even before I needed glasses. And now I get to put those details in my paintings.
You know, don't believe me, believe yourself. You know, try things out, see what works for you, see what resonates.
Being able to see, when I close my eyes, the details of the room that I'm in. That was a new feat for me to do.
Because I'm absolutely determined not to wear glasses in my life. But I don't want it to be a fight. I want to relax into that. And I think with Barry's exercises, they're a relaxing process. They're not a fighting process.
This has been an amazing journey, and I can't wait to do more.
Great. Let's see if Nathan is also here. Absolutely. There you are. So it's the two of us again. Can you see me and hear me well? Because apparently I was a bit blurry earlier.
I can hear you, but it's black screen right now. Earlier it took a minute for your video to come on, so hopefully it'll pop up shortly.
Yeah, I'm seeing that. Let me see if I remove myself. Can you see me now?
Not yet. Still just a black screen.
Oh my God. Well, we could see the documentary very well, which was the essential thing. So it's so funny because it's not the first time that we have this kind of thing happening. Last time you couldn't even hear me. But okay. Anyway, so Nathan, thank you again for you and Barry for producing this amazing documentary. We showed it yesterday in Spanish with voiceover. We had subtitled it and showed it last year. And and yesterday we showed it with the voiceover, and there's been like 15,000 people watching it in less than 24 hours. We wish that it will be the case also. today in English. Some people have been asking how they can watch this documentary later than today. And so on the one hand, it's going to be available for 2 more days. So 3 if you consider still today, for free, thanks to your courtesy and Barry's. But if you want to purchase the documentary, if you want to purchase or rent it, there are other ways to do it, right? I'm sharing the link here. But you can tell us more about it, maybe, Nathan, because there was people asking about it.
Absolutely. Yeah. First of all, just thank you everybody for being here and watching and listening and learning. I was really enjoying kind of seeing some of the comments coming up as we were going along. And yeah, I really personally enjoyed rewatching it again. This is the kind of thing that you definitely can get a lot out of through multiple watches. So yeah, not only would I recommend people check out the free replay, but if you do want to rent it or purchase it, then I think the rental is for 48 hours. But then if you purchase it, you just have it to keep for free for life. And when you purchase it, you also get 4 bonus interviews, or essentially it's like the full interviews of 4 of the teachers featured in the film. So it's a little bonus content. And then also the option to get the Spanish version now as well is really exciting.
Absolutely. For us, for me, it has been such a big pleasure to be able to share this very valuable documentary with the Spanish-speaking world, and the response has been so enthusiastic. Yeah, there's
so
an...
through the website you put on the screen there, or through vision2020movie.com. Either one will work.
Absolutely. Yes, absolutely. And I was looking also at the comments that were popping up during the screening, and there were a number of interesting comments. So people very excited to be here and to watch it. There were a number of those. A number of people also congratulating me on the achievement of the honorary doctorate, and I guess the new certification from the University for Vision Coaches. And there were also other kinds of comments, like I had to smile with this one. So Arina was asking, it has been almost an hour, but still just talking about the problem and showing no ways of solving it. Well, I loved your answer also, Nathan. Most documentaries are educational about the ideas and the topic. I haven't seen a single documentary that would be focused as a course or a training. But as you said, Nathan, although the documentary is educational, you did make sure to include a handful of interactive follow-along tips. And you also invited people to actually participate and practice and watch the documentary without glasses. And there's some times for doing palming. You may want to say a few more things about it. And then we have some invitations and some gifts for people who are still around.
Yeah, hopefully people were actually palming as Barry was like guiding us through the guided palming session. There were just a couple little things that people could actually be implementing as we go. And I just always like to kind of tell the story about when we showed the documentary in person in New York City, and one woman in the back row decided to take our advice and try watching the whole thing without glasses. And by the end of the 1 hour, 16-minute documentary, she reported that she was already seeing the screen better than an hour before. So a combination of just trying it out and actually experimenting with the practices, but then also just continuing to learn about it. But I don't think necessarily maybe if this person had just spent an hour without glasses, it would have had that same effect. I think it had to do with the fact that she was learning about it, thinking about it, and probably trying some of the concepts that we were introducing along the way. So that might also be kind of a cool thing for people to share in the comments if they did have any like experiences during the film or in general that they just want to kind of share of their experience with their vision process.
Absolutely. And also, if the reason why you came here was actually to learn how to improve your eyesight naturally and how to take care of your eyes, there's a number of options that we're going to open for you at this moment. Well, first, you can always subscribe to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/clearsightmethod, or follow us on Facebook. But even more important than that, this coming Wednesday, let me see that I don't make a mistake with the date, Wednesday, April the 19th, we're actually starting a free 4-part masterclass. We call it Wake Up Your Eyes, and you have the link here so that you can register for free. And with this 4-part masterclass, we end up providing about 12 hours of training, which is the equivalent of a weekend workshop as they are taught in Spain or France, in Europe. Often you do like one Saturday and have like the first half of the Sunday or something. And these courses usually cost 300 euros, $300. And we're going to provide this training for free. You do need to register to the link that's just here showing with your email, with your name. And once you do that, you'll have access to this free class. And it's going to be broadcasted between the 19th of April to the 28th of April. So it's going to be 10 days, 10 plus days of classes where you're going to learn plenty of tips and exercise and practices and habits and things that you can implement and that you can see in the moment how you can improve your eyesight naturally. And I don't know if you can see my image now. Oh, yes. Now I think you can.
Yes.
You didn't tell me. Okay. Okay. So you have the opportunity to do this. And if you allow me, let me show actually the dates where this is going to happen. So this 4-part video course has, for each lesson, it has 2 parts. Lesson 1 has a video that will be released on April 19th, and then a live training session on April 21st. Then the lesson number 2 will have a video released on April 22nd, and then a live on April 24th. Lesson 3 will have the video part on April 25th, and the live on April 27th. And the lesson 4 will have a video on April 28th and the live on April 30th. And so the video will be delivered to your inbox on those dates at 9 a.m. so you can watch it whenever you want. And of course, the lives, as they're happening live, they do have a schedule. So they will be happening. The times for the lives will be 10 a.m. Pacific, 12 noon Central, 1 p.m. Eastern, or 6 p.m. if you're in London, Dublin, Lisbon, in more Western Europe, and if you're in Central Europe at 7 p.m., like for Amsterdam, Berlin, Paris, Rome, Madrid. There's one exception to this, and it is the live of April the 24th that will be happening at 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern, because that day I'm traveling. So I will be on a plane at the standard time. But these lives, while I advise you to participate in person, will also be recorded and you'll be able to watch them for a few days after that. But you need to make sure, if you want to watch them afterwards, that you are subscribed to our YouTube channel or to our Facebook channel, our Facebook page. And I think that you also have an invitation for something happening a bit later also, Nathan. Want to say a word about it?
Yeah, sure. Barry and I, who you met in the film, we're teaming up to try something new this summer. In June, we're doing a month-long coaching program where we're going to be, we're calling it the 22-day vision tune-up, because we're going to be providing about 15 minutes of online vision coaching every weekday in June. So it's a total of 22 days, but they're just really short doses of it with the intention of building a lot of momentum in just 1 month. And we're going to be doing every other day. So it'll be me one day, Barry the next day. So I can share the link with that. Just my website, integraleyesight.com/22 days, the number 2 days. And then same, kind of like you said, I know if people are interested to learn a little more, they can input their name and email, and then we'll send some information about when that is getting up and running this June.
Mm-hmm. And if you're part of my community and my email list, I will be also sending a note about Nathan's activities when the time gets a bit closer. We're in April for June. We still have a couple months. So if in the so we'll send a heads up also for your activity. And if in the meantime you want to do something next week, the following week, you have this 4-part masterclass that's coming up very quickly. Yes. There's also a few more questions like, Dana was asking, is there a way to watch this later? Because I have to sleep for work tonight. Well, we already mentioned you can watch it on YouTube for free for a couple more days. And then otherwise you can go and see up the documentary link if you want to rent it or if you want to purchase it for life. I have also watched the documentary, I don't know, now it must be like 5 or 6 times between when it was first broadcasted and when we presented it to the community and correcting the subtitles and the voiceover. And so I've watched it a number of times, and every time I watch it, and although I'm a trained vision educator, I keep learning. I keep learning new things. So I really advise that you watch it again and that you share it also with your family and friends to open their eyes and their minds to new possibilities.
Yeah, it's amazing how many little sound bites are in there, and how many little tidbits and helpful tips. Like even if you just watch one little section of it, you can still get a lot out of it. So
so there's more things that I'm seeing here. Like Tony was asking, can the optical nerve damage be repaired through this method? And well, Melissa Moody's journey was partly about that. Like she had also neurological damage, and I think Barry Ockertell also with the brain tumor, he also had neurological damage. And so they improve their eyesight naturally. You already have the examples in the documentary. But as far as I'm concerned, among my students and participants of my own method, my own course, we've had a number of people who arrived with damage in the optic nerve, and they improved greatly. The examples of those achievements, I have them in Spanish. I think in Spanish I have now like more than 560 recorded videos, thousands of written testimonials, but in English we're a bit slower. We started later, so we're getting close to 200 video testimonials. So I'm not sure that we have some videos to show it in English, but these people do exist. And I imagine that you have a similar experience, Nathan.
Yeah, it's because that is one of those things that a lot of times people are told that optic nerve damage is irreversible or it's a permanent kind of loss. But yeah, what I get really excited to hear about is things like people who have already lost certain parts of their visual field, whether it's more central or more peripheral, and then through a combination of these approaches that rely on more relaxation and circulation and healing, and also specifically some of like the color therapy and the light therapy, which is kind of a different topic. But when these people actually regain certain areas of lost visual field, and to me that could indicate that either there's some sort of nerve regeneration, or at least there's some way for the brain to kind of adapt and work around the damage to kind of fill in some of the gaps, almost like our blind spots. How like we all have blind spots that our brain kind of fills in and contextualizes. And so if somebody has optic nerve damage and then they lose some other part of their visual field, I think it's great that people are wondering is there anything I can do naturally to kind of work with that and see what we can accomplish.
Mm-hmm. Actually, absolutely. On the one hand, neurophysiology and neurosciences have more and more proof of not just neuroplasticity, but neuroregeneration as well. And whereas before it was believed that the nervous tissue couldn't repair, now there's more and more proof that it can. And there's an amazing TED Talk from a neuroscientist from, I believe it was from Harvard, Jill Bolt Taylor, who had a stroke in her brain and lost one brain hemisphere. And so she could research her own brain from within, having been a brain neuroscientist for years before this accident happened. And it took her 7 years to recover from it, but she did. And once she recovered, she had even more insight about how the brain works. And so now we know that it's possible. And also, as Nathan said, our brains do Photoshop on how we see all the time. What we see is an interpretation from our brain of what the information that the eyes bring to the brain, and the brain does so many operations with eyesight that we can train our brains to see better and better, even if the eyes haven't completely improved yet, which they can also. So there are so many ways and so many angles from which you can actually improve your eyesight. What I would like to tell you is go for it. Because the best way to know if it's possible or not is to do it yourself and to experience it for yourself. And we've had in the community amazing people, you've seen a number of them in the documentary, that have had serious damages to their visual systems, like Melissa Moody or May Schneider, and they were able to do things that other people told them were impossible. So there's this saying that says, I didn't know it was impossible, so I did it. So take it as if it's possible and see for yourself how far you can get. Even if you improve a little bit, that will represent such an improvement of the quality of your life that it's really worth it.
I love that. Yeah, nothing beats your personal experience. And I think that a lot of these practices are really set up with that in mind of just try it out for yourself, see if it works or doesn't work. If it doesn't work, you could try it differently, or you try a different approach. And yeah, I love like the eye doctor in the film, Dr. Ray Gottlieb. I just love his approach of being very creative and very experimental. I think he mentioned in the film, like, you know, if something doesn't work, it doesn't necessarily mean it's bad or wrong. It just means that experiment didn't work, and let's try a different experiment. So
yes, absolutely. And there's also one of the last people to talk in the film that says, you don't need to believe me, see for yourself. Just do the experiment, do the experience, and see for yourself. Also, you don't need to believe us, although if we're getting honorary doctorates and opening diplomas at the university, and we have hundreds of testimonials of other people who have done it, well, maybe there is some truth to it. And the important part is that it's opening your mind and eyes so that you try for yourself. What we're really trying to do here is open possibility. And again, the best way that you can see how it's true is to see for yourself. And the next opportunity that you have is starting this Wednesday. May I go really quick over what we're going to do on these different sessions? In lesson 1, we're going to focus on relaxation. We're going to teach about palming. And then in the live that will expand on lesson 1, there will be a number of practices, exercises, and habits that you can learn in your daily life to improve your eyesight. In lesson 2, we're actually going to focus on light and the sun and how beneficial they are for your eyesight, and also how to distinguish between the light that can damage your eyesight and the times where it can damage it, and also how to use the power of sunlight and light in general to accelerate your healing processes, because light can also be amazingly healing and good for your eyesight and your eyes. But you need to know which kind of light and when. That is crucial. You will learn palming and sunning in the second lesson. Sunning and palming for me are like the star practices of the Bates method. They're really amazing. And in lesson number 2, in the live, We will also present you with these tools that are very practical, the pinhole glasses, and you will learn the instant focusing technique. So how you can see much better in mere instants, just with your own eyes, with no glasses, no contacts, nothing. And in lesson number 3, April 25, the video, and April 27, the live, we're going to talk about the emotional aspects of eyesight. That was covered also in the documentary. In the title, it says From Eyesight to Insight. So in lesson number 3, we're going to talk about research done on the impact of emotions in eyesight. And I have done some of that research myself in person from the University of Toulouse. And then in April 27th, and we'll teach some techniques so that you can release the emotions that keep you from seeing. And in the live, we're going to explain from an emotional point of view 15 plus symptoms and what are the correlations between stuck emotions and vision problems. And so when you hear about the ones you can have a key of what you need to release so that you can see clearly. So it's very practical. In lesson number 4, we're going to talk about 6 scientifically proven angles from which you can look at vision improvement and some tips on how to activate or action on each of them. And in the live of April the 30th, it's a surprise. So we can keep something that you don't know yet about. Now, also something that I want to be very clear about is that from April the 28th on, I will offer you the possibility to join my advanced program, the ClearSight Method. And while all of this that I'm talking about is for free between April the 19th and April the 30th, from April the 28th onwards, if you want, you can join this advanced program that is a paid program and that will go deeper and will spend more time with you with this coaching program. This program that we're going to offer you the possibility to join from the 28th onwards has actually received an award in 2022 by the Global Health and Pharma in the Healthcare and Pharmaceutical Awards as the best natural vision improvement program they could see with their own independent research that they did. I didn't even know about this organization. So I guess we've done something well. By the way, all the colleagues in the documentary and Nathan and others do an amazing work as well. So if you also want to check their activities and their programs, you're in very good hands. Yeah. So so here are some options if you want to keep learning. Now, going back to the documentary, Veronica was asking, where can I find a Spanish version, please? So we have it broadcasting on YouTube for a couple more days. So I think I put the link already visible. But if you want to rent or purchase the Spanish version, you also can, right, Nathan? That's available as well.
Yes. Yeah, we currently have the Spanish subtitle version added. And I just got the voiceover version. So we'll be adding that as an option through the website as well.
Mm-hmm.
And you can always reach out to one of us if you need help with that.
And yeah, we'll facilitate that. Also, Solomon was highlighting the emotional part of it and comparing eyesight to the way we view our world. This is for me, and not just for me, for a lot of us, a very key aspect of natural vision improvement. And Bates, of course, pointed in that direction already from the 20s, but there's also for example, Charles Kelly in the late 50s that did his PhD on this topic. I know Kaplan has been working on this also, myself and others. So yeah, this is a very powerful transformational angle to improve your eyesight. And the advantage is that not only you improve your eyesight and vision, but you actually improve your life and your happiness and your joy, because then you release all the things that are bothering you to be authentic and fully enjoy life. So that's one of the things that Amelia Jurado was saying, is that it's impressive how by working on such a little part of your body, your little eyeballs, you can actually improve the quality of your life so much.
Yeah, and that I'm glad that Salman commented that, just because that was just one of our main intentions with the film, was to really convey that message to to get people thinking about that deeper connection, because
Mhm.
it's really not included when you go for a traditional eye exam. The eye doctor generally isn't asking about that side of things, the more emotional side of things, and that connection. And we just feel that that's very important, and that that should play a bigger role in our eye health and in the whole scheme of things, and just exploring that relationship there. Because I think that pretty much nearly every single vision educator, and probably most people who go through vision improvement themselves, have some level of that emotional piece, like being a part of their eye healing process. And everybody's a little different. Some people it's a huge part of the process, other people it's a little bit smaller, but I think it's hard to fully go through this vision transformation without exploring that link with the emotions and the eyes.
Yeah, in my research, what I've found is that 88% of the people participating in the research, the emotional aspect was crucial. That's almost everyone. I mean, only for 12%, it didn't seem to be relevant. So there is some people for which it may not make sense, or they don't remember enough, or they're not connected enough with their emotions, or maybe it was not the cause. Okay, but 88% out of 100 is massive. So it's really worth to go and explore that direction, because it can be really, really helpful. And Wendy is really thrilled and enthusiastic. Absolutely awesome. Thank you all so very much for sharing this. Well, it was really a pleasure to do this, and so nice to see such enthusiasm and good reception. You were asking, Nathan, if people were practicing along, and Chesta Drake said, yeah, I tried the suggestions as we went along, and it was great. Yeah.
Nice. Love it.
There's also a few questions that I have seen about specific symptoms. For example, Luna is asking, can you give some tips or links to presbyopia? And I saw that you pointed to one of your podcasts. I don't know if it was the Naked Eye podcast or the Better Eyesight podcast, which is a collaborative podcast that you started with Esther van der Werf, and where a lot of us also participate in some readings of chapters and articles from the Better Eyesight magazine. You want to say a couple words about this also?
Yeah, that I pointed to episode 22 of the Better Eyesight podcast, which was Esther and Amelia, who was also in the film. And that particular episode, pretty much all the articles, the whole theme is about presbyopia and the kind of Bates approach to it. And then also, I saw somebody else was asking about glaucoma, so I thought about the other episode of the Better Eyesight podcast, episode 18, which is all devoted to glaucoma. And so sometimes that happens with the Better Eyesight podcast. Sometimes there's like a theme for the whole episode. Other times it's kind of more generalized and covers many topics. But yeah, I think that is a very good resource for those types of people who want to kind of dive deeper into the original materials from Dr. Bates from his clinic 100 years ago, and like the testimonials you have been mentioning of people recently who've been going through your program and working with you. I think it's also really fascinating to go back and hear the success stories of people in the clinic in 1923, in April 1923, you know, like seeing what was going on when stuff was first forming, and seeing how it still applies to today as well.
Absolutely. And yeah, and check those episodes of these podcasts. And also, we're going to talk about presbyopia and glaucoma in the class that I'm presenting from next Wednesday onwards. And also, it's useful for cataracts. I'm also seeing Heather talking about it. And so she's asking, is true that cataracts can only be removed through surgery? Well, the experience that I've had with a number of my participants is that they have avoided cataract surgery. A lot of them have. Some of them have nevertheless chosen also to have cataract removed with surgery. And then what we have done is help them with the recovery afterwards, and also with learning how to see clearly and how to focus again near, which in principle would be considered impossible once you don't have your crystalline, because it's been replaced by an artificial one. But you can still learn to improve your eyesight afterwards. So you can browse through the testimonials that I shared. There's a number of them talking about not needing the cataract surgery anymore. So it's up to you also what you want to explore. I don't know who it was, whether it was Kaplan or someone else in the documentary who said, why not first explore the natural way? Or maybe it was Mayor Snyder. If that is not enough, then maybe you can get surgery. And after the surgery, then you can get back to the natural way so you can improve your eyesight. So it's always your choice. What would you rather do? Would you rather wear glasses? Would you rather have surgery? Would you rather learn to take care of your eyes and improve your eyesight naturally? And whatever your choice is, we're very happy to be here to support you in your choices and make the best out of it. But if you want to know, I've had a bunch of participants avoiding cataract surgery and actually having their cataracts decrease naturally and see clearly again. You probably have similar experiences, Nathan.
Yeah, it's obviously a case-by-case basis, and usually it has a lot to do with kind of the stage of development or kind of where along the timeline the person is with it. And in general, the earlier we can kind of intervene and get involved, the better. But yeah, I stand with you on that of let's see what we can explore and experiment with naturally, because that surgery is always going to be there as an option, as a fallback. And yeah, I think it's important for people to just be open to the different options that are available to them.
Yeah, and again, if there's an urgency, like a retinal detachment or a big infection, or you've had a car accident or with glasses in your eyes and things like that, of course, first of all, go be checked by an eye doctor, by an ophthalmologist. But besides the urgencies, in general, you have time to explore with your own eyes and see what makes sense for you before a surgery is required, besides those urgencies that we were talking about, or high glaucoma or something like that. Shelley is also asking, can this method help with macular degeneration or degenerative diseases? My experience is, and again, when there's some serious trouble affecting your eyesight, you want to have also the checkup with the ophthalmologist and to be followed by an ophthalmologist. But when I have been teaching natural vision improvement in the Free University of Toulouse, where it's a service of the University of Toulouse, where researchers and professors share their areas of research with the general population, and usually it attracts retired people. So in these classes, I would attract people, in their 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, a number of them with macular degeneration linked to age. It's called something like that. Sorry for my English sometimes. And they have improvements. They have improvements that are verified by their ophthalmologist, and in my online classes as well. So again, you have nothing to lose and a lot to gain if you try to have these approaches and see how you can see better and better. My experience, and maybe you want to share about yours, is that as long as you have one eyeball connected through the optic nerve with the brain, as long as you have that equipment, the improvement is possible. To what extent, how long it will take, okay, that may be case by case kind of reflection and conversation to have. But as long as you have your eyeballs, or even one of them, connected to your brain through the optic nerve, there is a possibility for improvement, and there's the opportunity for seeing better. And then it's also about the quality of the information you have and the motivation you keep, so that you practice and you make it a habit. And then you can really improve a lot. Nathan?
Yeah, since in light of this question, the macular degeneration, since that does tend to be maybe on the end of the spectrum of the more advanced conditions or issues, I'm glad you brought that up. I know of thinking about, the kind of bare minimum requirements here, or that's why I also really appreciated Dr. Bates's work, because he didn't just work with people who had, a little bit of blur. He would work with people who were either legally blind or actually didn't even really have much light perception or extreme optic nerve damage like we were talking about before, and still seeing results, still seeing people getting improvements even from those places. So I think it's good to know that. And then also, you also mentioned, the importance of verified by the ophthalmologist. I think that's really crucial just to bring up, whether we're talking about macular degeneration or any of these vision things, is the coolest thing about this is it's not just a personal thing. It's like you actually get that feedback from the healthcare provider, and especially when it comes to things like macular degeneration that are considered, quote, irreversible. Like my students with the macular degeneration was already getting the monthly injections to stop the bleeding and stop the leakages, and started doing the Bates method, started supplementing with some saffron, which generally tends to help in a lot of cases of macular degeneration. And he went back to the ophthalmologist for his next injection and didn't need it because the ophthalmologist couldn't find any bleeding, couldn't find any leakage. So it's like those kinds of things where it's not just like, I feel like this is helping and I kind of hope this is moving me in the right direction, but then to actually get that feedback from the eye doctor, whether or not they're on board with the more natural approach, that I think is really, really key, to get that as well.
Yeah, and we get those very frequently, all the time. People not needing the cataract surgery anymore, not needing the injections for the macular degeneration, not needing drops for glaucoma or for high pressure, intraocular pressure. And in these cases, in any case, it's very important that you have the follow-up with your physician, with your ophthalmologist, because you also don't want to be playing with the possibility of something going wrong when there is when your eyesight is at stake. You want to make sure that everything is going the right direction. And about the legally blind, we have a number of cases that are known by us, like Meir Schneider was in the documentary. He was legally blind, and he recovered a huge percentage of his eyesight from 1% that he had. And now he can drive without glasses. I mean, it's a mind-blowing story, but it's not the only one. We also know about Aldous Huxley, almost won the Nobel Prize of Literature several times, the author of A Brave New World that a lot of us had to read in high school, so very known author. And he also wrote The Art of Seeing, and he had been legally blind. And working with Bates' disciple, Margaret Dars-Corbett, he could actually be functional without glasses or with glasses, but he recovered so much eyesight that, it completely changed his life from being legally blind. And besides Aldous Huxley, there's also plenty of famous people who have taken natural vision improvement, like the Pope and Paul McCartney, John Paul II, and Paul McCartney. When he went to India, he learned some yoga for the eyes, and so you've never seen either of them wearing glasses, either the Pope John Paul II or Paul McCartney, and in their 80s. No problem with their eyesight, but also the champion of darts, who's a Dutch guy, 5 times champion, and his eyesight was decreasing, and so he did some training, and his eyesight got better again and won another championship. Or Kirk Douglas, the father of Michael Douglas, another actor who took some natural vision improvement classes. You may know about a few more as well. I think you even talked with Vishen Lakiani, right, once, the director of Mind Valley and others.
Yeah, and it is seeming to getting like either more accepted or more popular in a lot of sports teams as well. Kind of like some sports vision therapy in some of the baseball teams in the MLB, and like, yeah, just seeing how that improves not only their performance during the game, but I think what you and I are also interested in is like, well, what about life? You know, like, I don't just want to get the better eyesight for just this game. It's like I want it for everything. So
yeah, we have a colleague, Irina Castle, who developed tools because his kids are soccer players, football players, and and also we have another colleague in Poland, Miko, who has worked with the Polish Olympic teams to improve their eyesight. So as you say, it's penetrating more and more groups and aspects of society. I've been contacted lately also by pilots and policemen and firemen who, well, it's actually in some countries they have eye tests for these professions. So you really need to have good eyesight. So they want these trainings also to be part of what they learn so that they can do their job well. And getting back to some of the questions here, so we were with the symptoms. Shelley talked about macular degeneration. There's also Teresa mentioning that she was diagnosed with diabetic retinopathy, detached retina in both eyes, and have oil in her left eye. But with these methods, you could ditch the prescription glasses in 2021 when you turned into the Better Eyesight League. Congratulations, Teresa, and thanks for sharing also in this
hey,
context. Also, Belinda is asking if you have had LASIK surgery years ago to improve vision, but now have to wear glasses, can this method help? In my experience, yes, it can. That's also one of the typical cases where people turn to us when they've had surgery, and maybe the surgery helped for a number of years, but then after some time, you get back the symptom you had or new symptoms appear, and you can work with natural vision improvement very well after surgery as well. Sometimes a second or a third surgery is just not possible because it would damage the eye too much. And so what option do you have? Natural vision improvement is always a possibility. So yeah, Belinda, I would invite you to see with your own eyes how that can work for you. Nathan?
Yeah, that's a pretty common one I've seen a lot as well, where it actually has pretty good results a lot of times. The people I work with who have had LASIK and then they want to take the more natural approach second time around. Because even though the vision has been altered by the surgery, the actual root cause maybe still needs some working with. So there's still a lot we can still address on the non-physical level, but then on the physical level, there's plenty of parts of the eye that the LASIK surgery did not affect. So it's like, let's work with the other muscles of the eyes to see what other type of adaptation we can create.
Yeah, there's this study from the University of Helsinki, the Department of Ophthalmology, that says that 58% of people who get surgery in the eyes actually need to wear glasses after the surgery, after some time, and actually get back the same symptoms that they had before the surgery, or partially. And as Nathan was saying, it's often because number one, the underlying emotional aspect wasn't treated with the surgery. The surgery cannot remove that from you, so you really need to work with yourself. And if the symptom was an adaptive response to a stressful environment, and you remove the symptom, but the stressful environment is still there, guess what? Your body is going to recreate that adaptive response again. So that's one reason why the symptoms appear again after surgery. So this is something you want to treat, you want to take care of, and you have to take your own responsibility in the process. And the second is, if you don't change your habits of using your eyes, it's as if, okay, you're driving your car against the curb. Yeah, you're going to need to change the wheel at some point, the tire. But if you keep driving the same way, guess what? You're going to need to change the tire again. So how about learning how to drive in a different way that doesn't damage the car or the tire? So, and that cannot be performed by surgeries. This is something that you need to do yourself. You need to learn how to use your eyes and how to take care of them. So, and these learnings, these teachings are provided by natural vision improvement. Now, on another kind of question, there's Norma asking how to become a vision educator. And there's many ways to answer to this question, because there's a number of us having trainings, to coach, to train vision educators. I don't know if there is a directory that's explicit about where you can become a vision educator. I know a number of schools in the Spanish-speaking world, including mine. And as I mentioned, very soon, the university diploma, the university certification with this Mexican university will be available. But in English, maybe you can mention a few options for becoming a vision educator.
Yeah, we're working on putting that compilation list together on the AVE website sometime soon at naturalvisionteachers.org. But right now, we don't have that list on there, but that is a place as a directory for vision teachers you can look up. But yeah, there are a handful of people in the U.S. doing some teacher trainings, like Greg Marsh and my vision teacher, Jerry Ann Tabor. And I'm actually in the process of developing a teacher training program as well. So that's going to be one of my offerings moving forwards as well, to start certifying more Bates teachers.
So what I would suggest is, if you want to become a vision teacher, you can write to us. Write to me, for example, Ainhoa at clearsightmethod.com. Write to Nathan. If you write to me, I'll also communicate with Nathan so we can help you find where you can get that information. Let me see. So Teresa is saying, I've had an amazing time today. Thank you so much. I'm signing off. And also, okay, a lot of you, I imagine, are leaving. Some people still want to know if the classes will have a replay. So this documentary, you can still watch in the same place for 2 more days, 3, including today. And for the class that we're going to start next week, where you can sign up, clearsightmethod.com/wakeupyoureyes. Everything is going to be recorded, and there will be replays of everything, if that's what you meant. I would suggest have a look at this video wherever you're watching us, YouTube, Facebook, because there's a number of links that we've been sharing, and so you can probably find everything under the video, and then see it again. And apparently Sarah was sharing everything with family and friends. Yay! That's thank you for helping us with this mission and vision of making natural vision improvement available for everyone and becoming part of our cultural habits, just like washing our teeth. Is there anything that you would like to add, Nathan? Maybe, anything, a final thought, final information?
Well, I mean, I'm kind of just a little inspired by this question from Karen about being an accountant and working with spreadsheets for hours. Is there any hope?
I was looking at that one too.
Yeah, because I mean, the fact of the matter is that people who have been tuning in today have been looking at a screen for a little over 2 hours now, and a lot of people's work revolves around screen time, and that, I know when I was first starting improving my vision, that was sort of a hurdle for me of like, is this even going to be possible? Am I going to have to just stop using computers and quit my job and go live in a cave in the forest or whatever? But I think it's important for people to hear that it is totally possible to integrate these vision changes into your life, kind of like your car analogy of, we're not just trying a different quick fix kind of thing. We're actually fundamentally changing the way that we use our eyes during everyday activities, including screen time. And so I think I just wanted people to hear that not only can you improve your vision while working on the screen, but your vision can also still improve even if you need to be using glasses in the meantime for work or for driving. You know, like that's another hurdle. People sometimes feel like, oh, this isn't for me because I need my glasses. I can't just stop wearing my glasses. So yeah, there's a lot of flexibility and wiggle room for people to be still using their glasses as they work on improving their vision. And I love when people start thinking about how can my screen time and my work actually be turned into some form of vision training or vision improvement, which I think is what people like you and I really love helping people with, is really figuring out how to turn our lives into our vision improvement process, instead of it feeling like, oh, I've got my 10 minutes of eye exercises over here separate from my life, and now I'm just going back to these old bad habits. So hopefully that concept kind of came through in the film in general, but just really to make sure that that we hit that.
Yeah, and actually, Nathan and I prepared a talk at a conference on screen time and vision improvement. In the end, you delivered the talk alone because I was sick that day. But we talked about many strategies that you can develop while you're working or while you are at the screen to improve your eyesight and vision, or to prevent it from getting worse, and also how we can look at the screens as an opportunity for learning more and opening your eyes and opening your options for vision improvement. And Karen, we're also going to talk about these things in the class that starts next Wednesday. So you will want to tune in so that you can learn. And speaking of which, also Darla is asking, like, do you have to be an eye doctor to get the training? Absolutely not. The training starting next week is for absolutely everyone. Like, you don't need to be a dentist to brush your teeth, right? You want everyone to learn how to do it. You do it yourself, your partner, your parents, your children do it. So this is the equivalent. And if the question was, do you need to be an eye doctor to get the training as a vision coach? Actually, no, you don't need to. The way I look at these professions that gravitate around our eyesight and vision is, for me, a little bit equivalent to, for example, let's say somebody has back pain. Of course, at some point in time, the traumatologist may be needed or a physiotherapist may be needed, but there's also the yoga teacher that teaches you how to take care of your posture and your flexibility and your body week by week, so that you don't need to get the back pain, and that maybe you don't need to go to the traumatologist or a physiotherapist because you won't injure your back. So in a way, we could think about ophthalmologists and optometrists and vision educators in that kind of collaborative ecosystem. Like, we could look at, traumatologists and orthopedists and physiotherapists and yoga teachers. So does the yoga teacher need to be a traumatologist or an orthopedist or a physiotherapist? Not necessarily. Now, if the yoga teacher knows about physiotherapy, is that a good mix? Yes, it is. And actually, in our community, we do have a number of ophthalmologists and optometrists and orthoptists, but there's also plenty of us who are not ophthalmologists and orthoptists and optometrists, and we still do a great job helping our clients to have better eyesight. So Darla, if you're interested in becoming a vision educator, if you want to do other trainings around eyesight and vision, great, but is it required? Not necessarily. So it's up to you how far and how deep you want to go, and what piece in the ecosystem, what place in the ecosystem you want to play. Et voila, some thoughts that you'd like to add to this?
Oh, just it just reminds me of our colleague Fernanda down in Brazil, who she was my most recent guest on the Naked Eye podcast, because she did her natural vision certification first, and then went to optometry school, and she became an optometrist because she just was so passionate about it and wanted to learn more. So I think she's one of the first and only people I've met who did it kind of in that order. Because
in that direction,
people who have become eye doctors first, like Ray Gottlieb and Jacob Lieberman and Roberto Kaplan and people from the film,
Amelia
and then
Salvador.
base and they're like, wow, I want to kind of look more to this. So it's kind of unique to flip that around.
Yeah, but both ways are possible. And Darla, if you're already a massage therapist and you're recommending yoga all the time, yeah, maybe you could help your clients with their vision as well. I mean, if you're already a massage therapist, naturopath, physiotherapist, or so many other professions taking care of the general health of people, learning about natural vision improvement would add more things, more tools that you could offer your clients to take care of themselves and help them. So, yay. Thank you, everyone, for being here and with us today and for willing to learn more about natural vision improvement. And thank you also for your enthusiasm and your gratitude. It's really very nice to share with so many people from all over the place. And thank you, Nathan, for being with us today. And thanks also to Barry Ockertel for producing the film with you and for all the colleagues and friends that appeared in it. So I guess we're going to stay here for today. Again, if you want to learn more, the next opportunity is on Wednesday. So join now to the free 4-part masterclass, Wake Up Your Eyes. And this coming Wednesday, we'll be sending you more free information about how to take care of your eyesight and vision. And again, join the different YouTube channels and podcasts and check all the information that so that you can find whatever is useful for you at this moment. We're here to serve. And in the meantime, until the next time, so I wish you to take care, be happy, enjoy the beauty of life, and undoubtedly we'll see you better and later. Bye-bye. Thank you, Nathan, again. Thank you, everyone of the team to be here
Thanks,
today.
everybody.
Bye.
Bye.